Welcome to the Cookie Program 2019 Troop Training. Our theme this year is Go for Bold, and we're going to jump right in. So the first thing to know is when we are joining the Girl Scout Cookie Program, we are doing so with the intent to sell Girl Scout cookies with our troop. A couple of things to know is all of our boxes are $5 per box. That's for our favorites like the Thin Mints and Samoas, which are both about 30% of our sale. Following close behind is the Tagalong at about 15%. So with those three varieties alone, we make up about 75% of our sale. We also have our Girl Scout S'mores, which makes up about 8%. And our Toffee-tastic is roughly 2 to 3%. Those are our two specialty cookies. The Girl Scout S'mores is made with natural flavors, no artificial ingredients, and no GMOs. Toffee-tastic is gluten-free. Then rounding out the rest of our sale is the Savannah Smiles, Do-si-dos, and Trefoils, each about 6 or so percent of the sale. This will be the last year Savannah Smiles is available from Little Brownie. So if that's your favorite cookie, do make sure that you may get a couple extra boxes to hold you over. First and foremost, the Girl Scout Cookie Program is just that. It's a program and not a sale. It is partially, that is part of what makes it so powerful and such an awesome program, but it's because it teaches girls the 5 skills. So just by participating in the Girl Scout Cookie Program, girls are going to learn how to goal set, how to make decisions, money management, people skills, and business ethics. Part of what we want them to do is be able to set goals, and then one of the cool things about the cookie program itself is that they're going to be able to reach those goals. When I talk about goal setting, starting at the troop level, what I like to see is that troop uses the 3 S's or the 3 S's, so that they are, the first one is they're finding a way to serve. They're trying to find a way to give back to their community. So when they're out there selling and somebody says, "Why are you selling?" the girls have a quick answer to say, well, we're going to be planting trees in the park, or we're going to make dog beds for the Humane Society, whatever it might be, that they're finding a way to give back. The next reason that a troop might be selling is they're going to find something to save for. They have some big goals. They have set things that might not happen this year, but might be a couple of years in the works. So maybe that's a bridging in San Francisco, or that's a trip to the Savannah House in Georgia, or any number of things that girls might be saving for. Maybe it's to save enough so that everybody gets to go to horse camp at the same time, whatever that might be. And finally, we want to find something that's a little bit more immediate, and we want to find a way to celebrate. So we're going to find a way to let the girls know that their hard work paid off right here, right now. And whether that's as small as like a pizza party and just having a good time with families to say, look at all this hard work we put in, or as big as going to Build-A-Bear and every girl gets to make a Girl Scout Build-A-Bear, whatever that might be. Decision making. Please do make sure that girls are a part of every bit of the process. It's not just a group of troop leaders making all the decisions and telling all the girls exactly what to do. Have them decide how many booths they want to do, what those goals should be, when money should be due, however you can make them a part of it and make up the systems that make this program work. They should be having some bit of a voice, even if it's just deciding between 2 different options that are acceptable for the troop and for the parents. Money management. Please do make sure that money is treated with great respect, that it is not just play money. It's not monopoly money that can be messed around with. That we have real money that is exchanging lots of hands. Let's make sure girls understand the gravity of the money aspect, and that in real businesses and real money, you have to pay your bills and you have to handle it correctly. Otherwise, it's going to cause a lot of headaches. So make sure we're teaching that up front and not waiting till the end when something happens to decide that, oh, I guess the money part really is important. People skills. This is, again, one of my favorite things to watch my daughter do each year, to kind of learn what it's like to go up to somebody, talk to them, and have them want to support her based on her ability to sell. So when we teach girls how to do this, it's very empowering for them to be able to hear the message, and then respond to it in a positive way. And through the Girl Scout cookie program, we see more and more often that people are going to tell our girls yes versus no. And that's something that they definitely need to hear more and more, that yes, they have a voice, and yes, I want to support you. Business ethics. We're going to teach them how to do this right. We're going to hold to deadlines. We're going to make sure money gets turned in on time. We're going to make sure that we're not upset when things don't go our way. We're not complaining about how somebody else does it. We are working to make sure that we do it right the first time. And that's really what we want to be teaching these girls. To help you with all of that, we do have a program flyer. It has all of the badges, patches, and pins that girls might be able to earn through participating in the cookie program, or some supplementary things like the Daisy Leaves for financial literacy and different badge work that the girls can earn, and of course the cookie pin that they're eligible for every year just by going through these 5 skills and participating in the program. So if we're going to ask girls and troops to set goals, we do need to go through some numbers. It's not the best way to set a goal, but it does help set expectations. Or if you have set your goals, you'll know exactly how many boxes you need to sell to get there. So last year, down here in the pink box, we sold about 677,000 boxes. The year before that, we had sold 790,000 boxes. So we did dip a little bit, and some people say that might be related to the cookie price. But when we dig a little bit deeper, we see that the last year we had a 248 box per girl average, and we had the year before 255. That's only a 7 box difference for girls that participated in the cookie program. The biggest difference here is that we had a whole lot less girls in our membership. So we had about a 15% drop in membership, or 14% drop in girls participating in the cookie program. And a big part of that was a lower membership. And so what we saw was that the per girl average stayed relatively the same, a couple of box drop, and troops earned a lot more troop proceeds per troop. We just didn't have as many girls selling. So that's kind of where that drop in total boxes came from. But when it came to troop selling, the troop number of boxes actually increased, or stayed relatively the same, and the number of boxes per girl selling stayed relatively the same. But this year, we want to see us get back over 700,000 boxes. We always want to see, last year we had 82% of our troop girls participation. We want to see that bump up to its a little bit higher, to 88%. And we want to see that increase in per girls, boxes per girl, back to what we did a couple years ago at 255. We think that would be a nice rebound. And then, of course, through that, because we're selling more boxes, we want to see troops earning a little bit more money. So that's really our goal. That's kind of the target for our average troop. Once again, some of our troops earn as little as a couple hundred boxes, or a couple of $100 from selling cookies, and some of them up to into the $10,000 range, based on the size of your troop and how much you make the cookie program a priority. To do that, though, troops earn 60 cents per box from 0 to 224 boxes per girl. So when per girl selling, that is not just total girls in your troop, so don't ask me to delete them from the system, or you don't have to worry about it. If a girl is in your troop but she's no longer participating, you don't have to get her out of the system. It won't tear down your average. It's based on girls that actually sold at least 1 box. You're going to start out with 60 cents per box no matter what. Troops that can sell 225 to 299 are going to get another 5 cents. Another 5 cents gets added if you can hit the average of 300 to 399 boxes, and about 75 cents per box if you can hit 400 plus boxes per girl. We see roughly half of our troops earning that 65 cents per box. And if we look back here, we averaged 248 last year, and we're just asking for 225 to hit that. So many of our troops hit that 65% or a 65 cent per box mark. And then another quarter or another half of those troops that hit that end up hitting into these second tiered ranges to be able to earn even more for their troop. So that's what troops can earn. What can girls earn? And while I do want girls to set goals and I do want them to want to earn these awesome little prizes, that's not really why we participate in the cookie program. It's not just to sell a certain box amount so that I get the t-shirt or the stuffed animal. That's part of it, and that's, we like our rewards. We think they're fun, and some people say, if we ever get rid of that bandana, my daughter's going to be angry because she's been collecting one for every year for the last several years. Same with that cup. We almost always have a cup offered, and so that's sometimes what girls are collecting is really important, or even at the stuffed animal level, to make sure that we're keeping up. We understand that not all parents, not all troop leaders love some of the lower items. The higher value, the 1,000+ items, really do have true value. So I don't hear many people ever saying we should get rid of those. But for these littler items, every now and then people say, can't we just turn it into cash? Well, the reality is that this stuff, when you buy it at thousands and thousands of items, isn't worth a whole lot. And even if I did convert this into cash, it just wouldn't be what you'd think. It wouldn't increase cookie dough more than a couple of dollars for those lower levels, and almost nothing as we get higher up, especially if you get rid of these items up here, it wouldn't work out. So please know that these speak girl language. They're fun, they're bright, they're colorful, and this is going to be what makes your girl think, I really want to earn that leopard, or I want to get my little sleep mask. Whatever it might be that really is attractive to your daughter, these are the things that kind of pop. Where the real value of our cookie program comes in is our cookie dough. Starting at 100 boxes, girls earn $15 for every 50 boxes after that. So if you sell 150, you're going to get 30. If you sell 200, you're going to get 45. And it just keeps accumulating at $15 for every, plus all of these other rewards. So please do know that the true value of what we do in Girl Scouting is to be able to help girls set goals for things like camp, if they want to pay their own membership next year. These are the cookie credits, the cookie dough, the cookie cash that they can use to spend on the things that they really want. So if they really want something that's more valuable than, a couple of little bracelets, well, then they can come into the Girl Scout store or go online and do some shopping and find some things that have real value to them. And that's what's important. Of course, our 1,000+ items really do have a lot of value into them, like iPads, Kindle Fires, rollerblades, American Girl dolls, scooters, and things like that. Those are things that get girls outdoor, can help them participate in STEM, cameras, things that we want to see them doing in their lives. So that's where those higher rewards come. The KiwiCo, that has different science kits or art kits depending on your child. Go and check out KiwiCo. It's a really cool organization that sends out a kit every month for the next year if that's the reward that is chosen at that level. Plus we have a couple of other rewards. The initial order reward, 250+ boxes at the initial order, gets you this Go for Bold sign, plus what looks like nail polish is actually whiteboard markers that go along with that Go for Bold. If they participate in the digital cookie reward, we just need 18 emails sent. We have a couple of other rewards for a donation program in the Goal Getter Diva program, where we have almost half or more, a little bit more than half of our girls participate in the Goal Getter Diva program so that they can earn that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So why are you watching this video? Most likely because you want to become the Troop Cookie Manager, and you need to know all the background responsibilities that go into having a successful year. So all of the stuff that parents may not know is how much work goes in to make sure all the money, all the cookies are ordered correctly, and all of that stuff. So that's what we're going to jump into now. So to get started, if you are stepping up to be the troop cookie manager, and you can be a troop leader, you can just be a troop volunteer, whatever that means, you still need to be registered, and you need to be an approved volunteer, meaning you have an approved background check that is current. You need one every 5 years to keep being a volunteer with Girl Scouts of Silver Sage. And then, of course, I need a contract saying I am the person that is stepping up for my troop. The TCM contract can be found on our website under Cookies Plus and then Resources. So go there now to fill out the Troop Cookie Manager contract if you haven't done so already. We'll get you into our systems, both coded into our database and then into the eBuddy system. That is how you get access so that your troop can sell. One of the questions that I often get is, how do I get all my materials, all of my rewards? How do I get my cookies? Well, this is kind of the order for all three of those things. So specifically for the sales materials, starting here in the next couple of weeks, service units, well, they've already been sent it from both Little Brownie, who is our baker, the one who makes all of the cookies, and from council. That's me and some of the staff that work here. We're all part of the council, but they all get mailed to whoever has stepped up in your area, the service unit cookie manager. And that means somebody that is saying, I'm going to be in charge of having things sent to me, like the cookie materials. I'm going to be the person that has sets up the delivery for the cookie program. I'm going to be the one who gets all the rewards at the end, and then sorts and separates everything. So either using their troop rosters to be able to know how many girls and are in each of the troops, and then they will tell you where to come and pick these things up. That usually happens at a service unit meeting. So do make sure that you're attending your service unit meetings on a regular basis so that you're getting the most up-to-date information and you know who your service unit cookie manager is, because that's where you will get almost all of your stuff. Within that, you're going to get all of your order cards and all of that stuff, but you'll also get this parent. Once you have your little service unit meeting and they are able to pass out all the materials, you're going to have a girl and parent cookie training or a parent meeting. That should happen not before Christmas, but sometime between January 1st and maybe the 10th. The 11th is when we start, so you can have it on the 11th, but you might want to do it a couple of days ahead of time at least. And you are going to have a parent meeting. Please, please, please don't just send girls home with their cookie supplies and never have had a conversation with parents. There is a lot of work that goes into the cookie program, and you've created a ton more work for yourself if you don't go through this parent cookie training and the agenda and just kind of follow it and let parents know. Make sure that they've heard when the start and stop times are, when different things are going to be due. If they don't have that information, you're going to create a big headache for yourself. They're going to just start selling right away, and it's going to make other troop leaders, other parents mad and upset. So please, please, please make sure you have this parent meeting. It's a good time to collect all of the permission slips so that nobody gets bypassed. You don't start handing out all the materials to the girls until you have that permission slip. So make sure that parents are all coming to that meeting. Then you're going to go over any important dates that might be troop specific. Sometimes you'll know exactly when your delivery is going to happen from your service unit, and then you can set exactly when girls can come and pick up their cookies. So make sure you have all of that information, or you're working on having that information available at that meeting. Give any other troop specific information, like some troops don't collect checks. They don't want to take the risk of having a check bounce in their account. And that's okay. So if your troop has made specific things to help protect the money and the finances, you go over that in this meeting with your parents so they know exactly what's expected of them. And then finally, this is the time to ask for help. And we do that through awkward pauses. We are actually going to make a direct ask for help, letting people know This is an important role. We need people to help for booths. We need to have people help pick up cookies. We need to have people willing to count money at every meeting. Those are things that you can ask for help for. Some of those need to be an approved volunteer, and some of these just could be anybody could help with that. Almost anybody can go and pick up cookies as long as they've signed a parent contract. But you're going to ask for help and make sure people know that they need to step up and be a part of this to take a little bit of the responsibility off of just one or two people in the troop. It really should be the entire troop is dedicated to helping girls succeed in this program. After girls get their order cards and their envelopes and their 5 for 5s and all of the stuff that they need to start selling, we're into the order card or the initial order part of our program. That runs from January 11th, no specific start time, but the specific start date is January 11th through January 27th. Now, if you need to back that date up because your last meeting is on the 23rd, 24th, 25th, that's fine, and that's up to you to make those decisions. But because of the ability to submit their order cards digitally by taking a picture of both the front and back, you can have them hold out until January 27th to make sure that they collect, those last orders that they're going to be doing for church or wherever their last place might be. Once girls submit their order cards, I do highly recommend that the parents have to fill out the total numbers at the bottom and even have them sign it so that whatever is placed for them is what they certified, saying this is the total number of boxes. Troop leaders should not be involved in counting every single girl's order and then risking that you get it wrong and then you are putting in those numbers. The only thing that you should have to do is type those numbers and do that slowly into the eBuddy system. Once you submit all the girls' order cards, you have an opportunity to order extras for both the booth sale portion that we'll talk about. We do have lots of tools that help aid you in how many extras you should do. We have lots of videos that'll walk you step by step how to submit your initial order. So do wait for that. Don't stress it now. Don't worry about all the varieties or anything like that quite yet. We'll help you to decide what you need to do to order those extras. Once you have all of the girls' sales recorded and any extras that you want, it all needs to be submitted by Wednesday, January 30th. Once again, we end January 27th, which is a Sunday, and then by Wednesday, all of that information needs to be collected and put into the system. That helps us get our delivery as quickly as possible. So you guys order on Wednesday, service units submit for everybody for the next day on January 31st, and then on early in the morning on Friday, the entire council submits their order. So be aware that it goes pretty stinking quick. Always under order, never over order, because if you under order, we can always backfill and get you more items. If you over order, we do not ever take anything back. So make sure that you get this done correctly. The Troop Cookie Manager, or the next step that we have is as soon as that program or as soon as the 27th ends, it doesn't mean we stop selling. It is just an arbitrary date to collect the sales that have come in right now, put them into the system, and then get our actual cookies on the way. They can keep on selling using either the bottom, the little pocket order card on their order form, or you can hand them one of the Goal Getter order cards that as soon as they turn in their order card to you, either digitally or physically, I think both are a good way to do it, but even if you get the order card physically, do make sure you as the troop leader or troop cookie manager takes a picture of both sides. As soon as you get that, then you turn around and you hand them one of these Goal Getter order cards and say, keep on selling. So from January 28th to February 21st, any girl that sells 30 plus boxes during that time becomes a Goal Getter Diva and gets her 2019 Goal Getter Diva patch. This is a program that just helps remind parents and girls that they can just keep selling. There's no reason to stop. If somebody says, are you a Girl Scout? Are you selling cookies? They can always say yes and take their order at any time, even after February 21st. Technically, they can keep taking orders. They then just have to tell the troop leader, hey, I need another case or another 5 boxes of Thin Mints and Samoas to deliver to these people. And you just keep adding it and giving credit to the girl inside the system. You may want to actually stop this a bit early, because February 21st is the day before we start our booth sales. So you might want to stop it about a week ahead of time, collect all of it, and then when we get our delivery, which will happen sometime on the 15th and 16th, you can grab all of that information, put the goal getter information into the system, use our goal getter calculator so you know how much you need to have, sort, separate it per girl for both the initial order and goal getters, and tell girls to go delivery at the same time. So our delivery is going to happen sometime around February 15th and 16th. That means that the service unit got it, and now they've sorted, separated, and have a pile waiting for you, wherever that delivery location might be. It might be somebody's garage, it might be a church, it might be directly from one of the warehouses that holds our cookies. But you'll know when to come pick it up. You'll submit your initial order. It'll also tell you to fill out information for your pickup or your delivery right then, and it'll tell you when and where that's happening. But when you actually arrive, make sure you have, first of all, enough vehicle space. So sometimes you need a couple of minivans, or you need a flatbed trailer, or you need a truck. It's going to be a lot of cookies, and you need it to be clean, and you need to make sure that it isn't no pet dander, no smoke, no kids that might get into it. We really want to have a fairly empty vehicle when we come to pick up, maybe just one other person that can physically help do it. If you have to have your kids, make sure that they're safe and that cookies aren't going to be falling on them, or that they're kind of in 2 separate compartments. Once you get that, once you walk up to your pile, you're going to count. You're going to count one more time, making sure that all of the cases that you ordered, and we do deliver in full cases on the initial order, so you might have some extras in case this is your first year. Do know that everything gets delivered in full cases, which each case has 12 boxes of Girl Scout cookies in them. So if you order 11, you're going to get 12. If you order 13, you're going to get 24. So make sure you know where those breaking points are, and if you don't want that many extras, make sure you know how to avoid that, or to minimize the extras that you might have. But you're going to count it by variety, by case, count it one more time, then you sign a receipt, and then you load. Never the other way around. Never start loading, then sign the receipt, and just hope and pray that you got the count right. That just does not work. So always have somebody there standing with you that you're counting. Even one missed case is a $60 mistake. That's 100 boxes more that you have to sell just to make up for one case. So please don't, please don't skip this part. Count again, sign receipt, and then load. After we've got our cookies in hand, once again, we need to turn around and get those distributed out to all of the girls. That means that we're going to sort, separate at our clean living room, in our garage, where there's no water, again, no pets, no rodents, no husbands, or anybody that might break into those cookie cases or cookie boxes, that they are in a safe place that we can sort, separate, and then have girls coming to pick up directly from you. As soon as possible. As soon as you have your delivery, you need to make sure girls are coming to pick up from you and start delivering immediately, because the very next weekend we're into booth sales, and you really don't want to be trying to deliver both cookies and run booth sales at the same time. That's a big headache that you want to avoid. So starting February 22nd, that's a Friday, through March 17th, which is a Sunday, so that's 4 weekends, we have our booth sales, and we have 3 different types, but really kind of these 2, and then this is just a different way to look at it. But the My Sales is a specific term in our eBuddy system that means I have a troop that has made an agreement with whatever location I made an agreement with, whether it's a convenience store or something that the council has not set up. I have made up my own partnership with them, and they said I can sell on Saturdays from noon to 5. And that's fine. You are free to set those relationships up as long as it's not conflicting with a council sale. and put those into the eBuddy system so that people that are close to that sale, when they look on the cookie finder, they can see that you have a sale going on and they can actually go. You do not have to put it into the eBuddy system, but once again, this is a way to attract customers that might type into their computer saying, hey, where do I find Girl Scout cookies? It'll point you, if you're the closest location. People do use this system and they do come out to find a specific the place that is closest to them to get their whole case of Thin Mints. They're usually not just looking for 1 or 2 boxes. They're looking for like a case of Do-si-dos or a case of trefoils or something like that, because they know exactly what they want and they just want the quickest way to get from their house to a box of cookies. So make sure you upload it in there just so that customers can find you. Then we have the council sales. The council sales are all of the big box retailers that partner with us, and then we allow troops to schedule the different times that we've set up with them. So council sales are places like Walmart, Fred Meyers, Smith's, Brolum's, Albertsons, all of the big box retailers except for Winco and Costco that don't allow anybody onto their property to sell other products. But for most of us, that's who we have. And then we schedule those out through 3 separate rounds of troops going in and able to pick different time slots. Most of our time slots are Friday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to noon, noon to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9 is kind of how we split it. So 4 slots per day at any given store or location that's partnered with us. Sometimes that's different, but that is kind of the average. And what a troop is able to do is pick 2 slots starting Sunday, January 20th at 7 p.m. You're allowed to pick 2 slots from 2 different businesses. That means it cannot be a Walmart on State Street and now a Walmart on Overland. It really does have to be 2 completely different businesses, meaning an Albertsons and a Walmart, or a Brolum's and a Fred Meyers. It needs to be 2 separate businesses, and you only get 2 slots. That means everybody gets at least a couple of good ones. I will say a couple of tips for new people. Pay attention to those start times. Once everything turns from gray to green, that's when they open it up on that first one. So make sure you know that it's right at 7 p.m. Use the F5 button to refresh on whatever page you want to make sure that you see right when it happens. The first weekend of sales is a great one, using that first round, trying to get a couple of first week, because that is when you have just more people that have not purchased cookies looking to purchase them, is that first weekend. Make sure that when you're scheduling back-to-back booths, that check the travel times, and then if you're not going to use a site, make sure that you remove them. Round 2, Wednesday, January 23rd at 7 p.m. You can pick an additional 3 slots from anywhere. It can be the same exact business on the same day, back to back, so that you never have to leave. If you want to get there at 9 a.m. and be there for the rest of the day, then you might be able to swipe an entire day. And even though it was locked for 2 businesses for that first round, if you didn't pick anything in round 1, you now just have a total of 5 of wherever you want to pick. So that just now is completely open. So if you want to change your 2 slots that you had from before to something else, you now have 5 total time slots that you can select from. Round 3, it's open scheduling, except for mom and me sales. And that means that 1 girl and 1 adult are selling out in front of, using either a my sale or a council sale location. But you cannot schedule, you cannot be intentionally taking during these open time slots of booth scheduling, slots that would then be used for a mom and me sale. On Monday, and this is an on your honor kind of a program, I can't prove whether on that first round you picked it just at a Walmart on opening evening from 3 to 6 that you didn't select that for a mom and me sale. I can't prove that. There's nothing I can do. These are meant for troops, meaning 2 adults and at least 2 girls selling out in front of a store. That's what all of this is about, scheduling. Now, the mom and me sales will open up on Monday, I can't remember if it's the 30, 28th. So Monday the 28th, you'll be able to select Mom and Me sale booth sites. But once again, there's nothing special that changes during that time. You're just doing on your honor, making sure you're not selecting spots for just one adult and one girl until that time. Everything else that you've selected, at least your intention is to sell with 2 adults and 2 girls at least during that time period. Banking guidelines. A couple of things that we ask is that girls try as often as possible to collect money up front. Troops can be even more stringent and say that is the absolute, like I will not place an initial order without having all of the money up front to place that order. That's up to every troop to decide whether or not IOUs are okay, but you do need to do your best, and you do need to ask for the money as often as possible up front. Every time that money or product exchanges hands, you need to make sure you're writing a receipt. So when you're collecting money from girls weekly, and you do need to be, or weekly or at every single meeting, but even then, sometimes even if you're not meeting on a weekly basis, you have a time, an hour in the evening on your normal troop meeting that parents can come by and drop off money if they need to, because we don't want any parent having thousands and thousands of dollars just sitting on their counter. We want that getting turned into a troop and then deposited into a Girl Scout troop banking account as often as possible. That is the only safe place for money. It's not in a girl's money envelope in her backpack or on your counter or even in a safe in your house. We really, really, really want it to be in a troop bank account where it is federally insured. That is how we know that that we are doing things well, is that all that money is making its way to a troop bank account. So never hold on to money, and make sure that you're always counting the cash with the teller. Don't just ever let either a girl just throw money and say, oh, there's like 250 in there. Count it every single time. Sign a receipt. And same with a bank teller. Make sure you count that cash. Don't just assume, because if anything comes back, if you didn't deposit that check you thought you were depositing, it's going to come back and bite you. So make sure you take your time and always count all the money and take it slow. Once you've got your money into the bank account, we have 3 ACHs. The first one is Tuesday, February 19th. That's the day after President's Day. That's why it's not on a Monday. For 25% of what the girls actually sold during the initial order. Troop extras are not included, and digital cookie is not going to be included, or is going to be taken out of the money that is brought in during this time. So nothing that you put in for booth sales. I know you haven't sold those cookies yet. You haven't even sometimes gotten them yet. So make sure that you understand that it is only 25% of what the girls actually sold on their initial order. And if you followed my instructions, the money that girls should be trying to collect up front, I'm asking for 25% of it on February 19th. That's at least 20 days after when you should have submitted your order and been able to do that. Girls should be turning in money all the time. You should do your very best to make sure that girls are collecting money up front and encouraging them to do that, so that you have that money by this time. If for any reason you don't have money at any one of these pulls, please let me know as soon as possible so that we don't pull on an account that doesn't have the funds. Monday, March 4th, 2 weeks after booth sales have started, so the 19th, and then that next on the 22nd is a Friday when booth sales start, and then we have the March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd weekend, and then that next Monday we're asking for 50% of what the girls' initial order, once again only boxes that were sold during the initial order, for a total of 75% of initial order amounts, not any of the troop extras or the booth sales that were part of that, only what girls actually sold for the initial order. So again, no extras, nothing that you were selling at booths has been charged for. And once again, we have never taken any of your troop proceeds. We're only asking for 75%, which is $3.75. That means we've left at least $1.25 of what should have been collected already from the girls, what the girls sold during the initial order, and never touched your troop proceeds. So your troop proceeds always stay in your own troop bank account as long as you've collected everything and you sell everything. The final poll comes on March 25th. This is at the end of all of the booth sales. We give you a week, about 9 days, to get all the money turned into the thing. Unless you haven't sold everything or haven't collected all the money from the girls, all of the money has had plenty of time to come in. Now, if you're having issues with a parent not turning in money starting around this time, you have a full month to start putting the crack down on late money or girls not turning it in. If you notice that a girl has not turned her money in by the time it comes to distribute, then you just keep those boxes and wait until that money starts to come in. And then once she starts turning in at least half of her money, if not 75% of her money, then you can release those cookies. Or during those booth sales, you just take those cookies and you use them to sell. Protect your troop, protect the other girls. Don't let one bad parent's laziness or sloppiness be what stops. You can always come to the cupboard and pick up her order later when she's actually collected most of the money for it to help protect your troop. Closeout. We have record retention. So just keep everything up until about the middle of summer. As soon as you know all your money's good, you've got all your troop proceeds, everything's worked out, then you can kind of purge it at the end of the season, so about midsummer. Banking material storage, not as big of a deal, but if you do have a stamp, you do want to keep it in a nice spot so that the ink doesn't dry up, because you use that a lot for your checks. Bad debt reporting. If you do have a parent that just isn't turning in money and you did hand them cookies instead of just reselling them, do make sure you turn them in for bad debt. Don't let their issue become a part of everybody else's issue. Part of that is don't let your issues become a part of everybody else's issue. Turn people in. And if we do notice that somebody has stolen money or done something that they shouldn't have done, we do prosecute. So if you're a troop leader and you have issues and you let them become the Girl Scouts, your girls in your troop scouts specifically issue, we will prosecute you. So please don't steal the money. Don't do anything with the money. Don't use it for your own debts that you have. And make sure you turn in any parent that has bad debt. Now, this is up to every troop for their discretion. Nobody ever wants to hurt anybody's feelings when they don't turn in money, but that is part of that business ethics and holding people accountable and making sure that we're not making other girls suffer due to one other person. And make sure you turn them in so that you can protect those funds. 2019 cookie survey will be out sometime in mid-April. Make sure you take it. It's what helps us make better decisions as we move forward. A couple of quick eBuddy enhancements. So if you don't know anything about eBuddy, wait until the end and we'll go through it as well. But this is where we're going to talk at least a little bit about the things that are a little bit different this year from last. Otherwise, if this is your first year, it's all just going to be new to you anyway. This year, instead of having a default password, every troop or everybody that signs my contract will get an eBuddy email that says recreate your password or create it for the first time and confirm it, rather than having a default password and then you go in and recreate it. So it's a little bit different. You'll get an email sent to you as soon as you have access to the system. Another thing that's a little bit different about this year is you will see last year's booth sales underneath your order in for the initial order, so you can see approximately what you did last year, so you can make a good guesstimate of what you want to do this year. They also have created what's called a cookie exchange. We have set it up by service unit. So if you're one troop, one service unit, unfortunately, this isn't going to do you any good because you won't see anything. But if you have 10 to 15 troops in your service unit, what you are going to be able to see is that a troop can list all of the extra cookies that they have, and then they submit it. And what it does is it then puts it in by variety for other troops to come in and see, well, Troop 1125 has 17 Savannah Smiles. So I'm going to email them and say, hey, can I swing by and get those Savannah Smiles? I've been looking for some of those. And troops will be able to at least see what other troops have available within their own service unit. The other thing that is different for booth sales is now if you don't get one of the slots of your choice, you can actually click the notify me if one of those slots opens. And if you don't want to be notified anymore, you just go to that and say, stop notifying me. But this will allow you to at least get one of the first people that gets notified when something. Now that means that several people, if you want it, probably several people want it, but the second somebody pulls out of a booth spot, you'll know that it's available and you can go snag it if that's what you'd like to do. Another thing is the Troop, or the eBuddy Troop app. It was about 80% functional with eBuddy last year. It left a few things off. This year it is fully functional. That doesn't mean you want to do every single thing in the app, but it'll make it easier to do it. It will be slower, seeing as how things like the booth scheduling is usually all on the same screen. This will split it into several screens that you have to click this one, click that one, click the next thing, and then you'll do it. Now, after the 3 rounds are over, sure, use the app to do booth scheduling, but for those first 3 rounds, I'd still highly recommend using a desktop computer so that it doesn't get bogged down or too slow for you and you miss out on the spots that you really wanted. Digital order card is back. It is the only way that girls can sell online. They get their own personalized store, and it tracks and keeps everything completely synced with eBuddy. That does mean that you are not allowed to sell by eBay, Facebook buy-sell trade sites, Marketplace, or Amazon, Craigslist, or any other thing that is open to the public. You can advertise on things that can be set to friends and family. So if you have a Facebook, you can set the post to friends and family. That means people that you actually know can see it, and then that way, even if somebody does share it, it's only going to share it to people that you are mutually friends with. Now, if somebody just straight up copy and paste your girl's thing and goes and places it all over, you can't stop somebody from doing that. We do ask that the only way to market is through the system. It does have both shipping and a girl delivery option and a donation program, so that your customers can save some on shipping if they're local but pay by credit card, or if they do need it shipped, do know that it's kind of costly. There are bands, like they have to start at 4 boxes, and it's about $8 for shipping, and that's because that's the real cost of having a guy in a warehouse standing around boxing these things, then giving it to UPS for UPS to actually ship them, and for Girl Scouts of Silver Sage, your troop and the girl, to retain the full value of the price of those boxes. So otherwise, we'd be cutting into all of our profit to pay for shipping like Amazon can do. We're not Amazon. The customer does need to pay the full cost of shipping, and that's why it's slightly high. Just explain that to customers, that we need to retain the full value of the boxes, and that's why it's set up that way. Please don't do what these people have done. That means no selling on Amazon, no going to a buy-sell trade site. And even if you do see somebody doing this, this is a girl's picture, and sometimes what I get is people then slamming or saying things in the comments about how rude it is that people are breaking the rules. If you feel like you need to say something, be gentle, be kind. And just, we are reminding people of what we're supposed to be doing rather than worrying about them breaking the rule. We're just helping them to know what the actual rules are. This is the most confusing program we have because of the girl delivery option. Know that anything that comes in before the initial order should be added for girl delivery to their initial order, just like any other sale. So they submit, an order comes in, the parent says, yes, I will do a girl delivery, and then they take that order and they put it on their order card just like any other order. And that's because the boxes don't show up in here. They're going to be mixed in with all of the other initial orders boxes, and that's where they're going to be recorded. So they don't get recorded on the line that came in. So this came in by the system, DOC deliver, no boxes showed up, but we see that a payment was made. Once we see that a payment was made, we know that boxes have to be added either through the initial order, or if it happens after the initial order, what you would have is this DOC deliver 442903. I'd copy and paste because no boxes showed up, but I have a payment. And then I would put in the DOC deliver boxes. I'd copy, paste it, and then I'd write boxes, and I'd add whatever those 3 boxes were to the right column, and then it would have $12 owed, $12 paid, and when you add those 2 lines together, it would equal 0. If it's shipped, the boxes were added, the total due was added in there, the payment was made, and the balance is due. It all happens on one line. If it's DOC deliver, it's going to happen on 2 lines, and you need to physically hand the girl the 3 boxes or whatever the box count is to make her be able to go and fill that order. So that's why DOC is super complicated. Don't stress too much about it. I'll send lots of videos that show you how to do that. And once again, all of the cookies that are shipped are going to show up in your transactions page. All of the money that comes in for anything that is shipped, donated, or girl delivered is going to show up, because that is real money that comes to me, to the council, and then is credited against. So it's counted as a deposit or a payment made against what you owe to council. So it'll slowly pull money off of what you owe until you're left with just your troop proceeds. Several different apps. We have the eBuddy app that is fully functional, digital cookie app, which parents can use with cookies in hand, lots of different ways. I do turn off the digital cookie app for booth sales so that you can't use it, but you can still use it to place orders for girl delivery or for other things, just not the cookie app anymore. The GSUSA Cookie Finder is available. That's both in app form and just on every website that you'll see during the cookie season that's related to Girl Scouting. Little Brownie has a booth sale recorder, not as needed because of this new eBuddy app, but I still think you can use it. And then Little Brownie has a cupboard keeper app. One of the things I put it on here for is to know that you use this when you pick up cookies, but you don't actually ever need it on your device. It gets horrible reviews because it's a bunch of troop leaders that don't understand that they don't actually have the app on their phone or tablet. It's for the cupboards to be able to check out cookies to people. That's how you electronically sign, is through that app. Card sliders. Troops are eligible to do a card slider for however they want. They do pay the 20 cents per box fee that it'll probably cost, usually around 2 to 3% or somewhere in there that it costs per box, and that ends up being about 20 cents. Remember, a missed sale is a missed sale. If somebody says, I only have a card and I'm not going to buy unless I can use a card, you are just missing out on that sale. They are just walking away. So whether you paid the 20 cents and earned 40, or they had cash and you earned the 60, well, if they're just walking away, you're just not making the sale. So it is for every troop to decide whether or not it's worth that extra fee. You can also upsell by having a minimum purchase price. And I would wait for the customer to ask rather than offering it outright. Because first of all, if they do have cash, it's better for them to use that. And if they walk and say, I only have a card, and you say, actually, we have a card slider, they are basically saying, I will buy from you. They may have been trying to use it as an excuse to quickly walk away, and now they've basically said that was their only barrier. You just shot that barrier down, and now that they might as well come and buy from you. And you might be able to upsell them at that point too. And do make sure you reach out and see which companies have good deals. Square tends to have some different deals going on, so check them out. Some people will give you a Girl Scout or a nonprofit rate. Just talk to them about it and set it up with whatever company wants so you can set it up with. Do look at things like Venmo that have that's supposed to be from person to person, not business. You are a business, so make sure you are not using things that go against like Venmo's rights and all of that stuff. 2 different donation programs. We have a troop-run gift of caring, means the troop chooses their own donation organization, Boys and Girls Clubs, wherever sometimes people do the military, whatever, fire department, whatever you choose, that is fine. And then you would make any of the marketing material or signs that advertise for that at a booth sale or at door-to-door sales, or during the initial order. The troop would then collect the money during the sale. They would mark it as a GOC in the system, and then at the very end they would count however many boxes they got for that, and either have those boxes set aside at the end of the sale, or they sell completely out and come pick up extra boxes to make their delivery at the very end, at the end from the cupboard. So however you want, you eventually do have the actual boxes in hand and you go and make that delivery. The council-run version, it does donate to the Idaho Food Bank, and we are excited to announce that it will be the Cookies and Milk from the Heart program again, where the Dairy West will donate $1 for every box sold to go to provide milk for families in need in our communities. So through the Idaho Food Bank, so they match $1 for box every box we sell. And that helps incentivize our customers a little bit more to donate. So that all goes to the Idaho Food Bank. So we've picked the organization. The council provides, we'll have a little thing that you can put on the front of your donation box so that you'll have that, and also possibly a box wrap so that you can advertise it at your booth sales. If you want to have different things as you go around, we might have a few other things that you can print off. Just make sure you make it a part of every one of your speeches or spiels. The council will then use cupboard inventory at the end. So the troop just needs to sell out at the end. They do not hold any boxes behind. If you're doing the Cookies from the Heart program, have no boxes left behind. You need to sell every box that ever comes into your inventory. And then once we have the cupboard inventory, we'll count up all the boxes that were donated and collected money. So the troop still collects the money during the sale, and you can even representatively set a box off to the side to say, look at this box that we are going to donate. It's not actually going to happen. You're going to go and turn that box back over to the sales side and keep selling it, because you need to sell out of all of your inventory. And then we make the delivery to the Idaho Food Bank in both Pocatello, which has a distribution center, and in Boise, which has a distribution center. Girls that sell 15 plus boxes get the Cookies from the Heart patch and other things, and another thing on the order card if you can sell 30 plus. It is a great way to upsell. When somebody says, no, I don't want Girl Scout cookies, and you just ask, well, would you like to make a donation for Girl Scout cookies to the Idaho Food Bank, and $1 will be donated. A lot of times people will say, okay, that's worth it. So make sure you do it. This year we do have the 5 for 5 contest, which again is another great way to upsell. It is the 10th year, maybe the 11th year. I would have to go back and check that we've been doing this. It is a top selling girls best tool. They start to sell in 5s and 10s. It's a national best practice now that started here in Girl Scouts of Silver Sage. And this year we're making it even better. So we still have our buy 5 boxes and receive a receipt to enter an online drawing for 5 cases or 60 boxes. So you'll still get your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. And we do have 5 winners for that. Now, we will also have a 6th winner that gets a new grand prize of a TV plus the 5 cases. So it's even better. And those 5, in case you're in a regional area, we do split those into specific areas. So it's not just the Boise, Treasure Valley area getting tons of entries and then out there and having 5 winners in the Treasure Valley. No, we split it up, and we have a winner in all of our old association designations. So that's how we still split it up, is we don't have associations anymore within Girl Scouts, but that is still how we split up who you're kind of coupled with. So the Idaho Falls area and Salmon area kind of all get compiled, and then the Pocatello, Chubbuck area with Preston and some of that, and then central Idaho, and then we split the Treasure Valley into two areas. And always use the 5 boxes for only 25 slogan. It helps to upsell, helps people to say, just give a reason to ask for one more box. So that is the whole point of the 5 for 5 program. Once again, we have about 10,000 entries each year. So people really do use this. People do like to win, and it is always exciting for us when we see people winning. We do have a couple of different places. We have our website that has all the cookie resources. This training is probably where you found it, is on our website, along with a bunch of other resources. There is the GSUSA cookie page, girlscoutcookies.org, which again is a place just all about Girl Scout cookies. Sometimes it's a little bit confusing because there are 2 different bakers, but still great information. And then our specific baker that makes all of our cookies is Little Brownie, and they have lots of fun materials, also going to Pinterest, and if you want any other just fun ideas, going to some of those places. One thing to know is to use the customer care team. Never try and call me. If you call me, you are looking at a wait, especially during the height of the cookie program. I am very rarely at my desk, and I am usually busy doing a lot of other things and put my phone on Do Not Disturb an awful lot. Or if you try to email me, just look for it to be a delayed response, or that I respond differently than you might expect, like through. If you've asked me the question, most likely 4 or 5 other people, maybe even 20 people have asked me the question directly. And so what I tend to do is respond to those questions inside of my eBuddy emails that I send out on a regular basis. So do be aware that's most likely where you'll hear from me versus a direct response. But if you write to the customer care team at customercare@girlscouts-ssc.org or cookies@girlscouts-ssc.org or any other tag that isn't somebody's name, you are going to get a much quicker response. So please use our customer care team. We have 2 dedicated people that are there on the phones 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and emails answering those questions as they come in, and or at least responding to you very quickly to say they're going to find the answer shortly. Marketing. So a couple of things that I want to point out is GSUSA has a Cookie Pro contest. That's great. I'm not as concerned about that one as I am our own personal Cookie Stars contest. They both act very similarly. The Cookie Stars contest does incorporate that Cookies and Milk from the Heart program, so do fill that out. This is how we choose who ends up on our billboards and posters and materials. So these are some of our past winners. All the materials that you'll see from our for selling is all our girls. We like to make sure that we promote that these are our actual Girl Scouts, and that's what we try to do. And the way we find those is through our Cookie Stars contest. That's again available on our website and in your program chat and in the service team connection and all over the place. Everything that we can find, we try and send this out and make sure that parents know about it. So do look for that Cookie Stars contest, read the guidelines, and then submit. That's both at the troop level and individual girls that can win. We have lots of other things. We have costumes available for checkout in different, I think almost all of our regional areas. We also have several costumes that you can buy from the retail store and a bunch of other materials, lots of really cool materials at the retail store, so make sure you check that out. And then watch for all these things for like stories and press releases and ways that it gets advertised in the paper and all of that, because it's pretty fun to see how our customers respond to all the different fun things that we do. We won't do any questions because it's just me here. We are going to quickly go through eBuddy. So for anybody that is new to the entire system, we're going to kind of walk through the logistics center. eBuddy is our online logistics center that keeps all of our sale in order. And so we're going to jump right in. Once again, you're going to get emailed a password link as soon as you have access. You'll come to the eBuddy login, log right in. And the first tab that you're going to be on is the dashboard. The dashboard has lots of good information, but you'll probably look at it once. It has the calendar. It has a checklist for things you need to do. It has lots of different messages for me or your service unit that tells you here's where to do things. Here's where the first things you should do. Here are the cupboards. All that sort of stuff happens here, but you're probably going to stop looking at it pretty stinking quickly. One of the most important things is down here in the corner, it has your service unit contact. So whoever the person that is running the Girl Scout cookie program is going to be right over here so that you can see where it is. It's all run by a series of tabs across the top, and now I'm going to walk you through each of those tabs. The first one is contacts. I am only adding one contact to the system, and that's actually happens on the settings page. But then you can add as many more people that you want into the system. And I don't stop who you add. I do ask anybody that has actual access to change things to be an approved volunteer. But once again, if you sign the contract, it all comes back on you. The contacts page is just that. It's just a list of people you have added to the system, but it's not where you add them. It's on the settings page that happens. Once on the settings page, you're going to do more than just add people. Up at the top, you can change if your level isn't correct. Maybe I have you in there as other, but really you have 90% brownies and like a small little daisy faction in the troop, and you want to be known mostly as a brownie. That's fine. This is also where I need your troop bank account information so I can make that ACH pull, get that in as soon as possible. If you've been selling for a couple of years, you're going to see last year's data points from this. Then, as you scroll further down, this is where you could add a new troop leader, a new troop cookie chair, which have full rights to the entire eBuddy system for your troop. Never add yourself to any of these other roles. You are all ready as a troop leader or a troop cookie chair. You're all ready to pick up uh, cookies from the cupboard, so you don't need to add yourself. But if you have a parent that's willing to do that during booth sales, you do want to add them into this spot. You do have to add them one at a time. If you just add their email, it'll send a link to that person and they can fill out their first name, last name, and all of that stuff. So all you actually need to do is add their email into the system, click update, and you can add them right there. If you have people that just want to see how eBuddy's being run, but you don't want them to have any access to make changes, add them as a troop view only. Once again, don't ever add yourself to anything in red or the troop view only, because you'll lock yourself out of being able to do anything else in the system. Now, if that's what your goal is, then that's fine. Then you just need to have somebody else run the rest of the program for you. The next tab over is the girls tab. I do import. When you first get into eBuddy, you should see a list of all the girls listed in the troop and their GSUSA IDs. You cannot add or take away anybody. You can never delete. You can hide them, but you can't add anybody until right before the initial order is due. Once I have imported everybody and I've synced them to the best I can to the digital cookie program, eventually I do allow you to add girls as needed, and you would just type in their name. If you don't know their GSUSA ID number, that's fine. You just click the little create a temporary password, temporary ID, and it'll make one up for you that's a unique identifier, and then you can fill out whether or not what grade they're in or whatever that is. But this is where you would do that. Once they're added to the girl tab, then they've been placed both in the initial order and the girl order tab so that you can give credit to girls or to submit their initial order. So on the initial order, you're going to place all the cookie boxes per girl. So you'd click on Addison. I think it comes up down below. You would add her cookie boxes, say save or whatever it is, or update, and it'll update her boxes. Do make sure that you're going in order and that everything looks right, and then you'll see their total here. If you order boxes from the Cookies from the Heart program or the Gift of Caring program, unfortunately, nothing, or not unfortunately, but just know that nothing actually gets ordered for those, because they're not real boxes. They're just they're a box sold, but they're not an actual variety like a Thin Mint or a Trefoil is or a Do-Si-Do. It's just a box that's giving credit to the girl so that if she's reaching for that 250 boxes per girl, that she's actually going to get credit for them. Then down here at the bottom, you're going to have those booth sale extras that you want. Now you can use the other column. I don't really know why people would use the other column. You can put it all into booth, or you can put it all into other, however you want to see it. But this is where you order those extras. Down here below is where you have, it's going to show you anything that adds up to, that's divisible by 12, how many extras you might be getting, because it's going to order in full cases. So this is the packages that you ordered, and this is it rounding up to the next case. And down here for this example is that you're going to get 7 extra because you're ordering 12 cases, but there's 144 boxes. So that means out of the 137 that you knew you were ordering, you're ordering another 7 because of that. So that might sometimes mean that you want to adjust down because maybe you only actually want 11 cases. So you order it down ever so slightly to say, I don't want 60 of these, I actually want 53 of them. And then, or the 5 extra, 55 of them, and then it brings you down 1 case. So then you have no extras, but you're down a full 11 to 11 cases. So however you need to do that, you watch it. Just know that you're most likely going to need extras, and having a little bit of extra more than what you thought is probably okay. See, these people submitted, and they got some of them down to 0. Some of them they just said, I'm not going to worry about it. That's basically going over what I just went. After you submit your initial order, the delivery tab opens up. Not every service unit uses this, but if yours has more than 5 or 6 troops, they probably do. You would come in here and you would select the time slot that you need to be able to pick up your varieties. So, and then once you submit that, it'll confirm and tell you exactly where it's at and what kind of vehicles you need to pick up. And then after the initial order and you've submitted for your delivery, everything from the initial order gets transferred into a one-line system. And then instead of going by variety, Now we go by the way it was sold. We now, because all of our boxes are 5 boxes, you should only see the initial, booth, and other, and then the 3 different special programs. That's the Cookies from the Heart and the Gift of Caring, but also the GG column, which is the way that we notify that a girl earned her Goal Getter Diva Patch once they have that added. So when we come over here and we look at it a little bit closer, the initial order is locked. You can never ever change that once it's submitted. So if I click on a girl, so I'd click on this button right here, it would open up that girl, it would show me that her initial order is locked, but then I can add more booth cookies and I can add more other. The other column is for things like DOC, or if you check out cookies to a girl. And if you do check out cookies, go in, put it on their order card or their girl order tab, and act like it is sold. They owe you the money for it, and never ever take back cookies. I don't take back cookies from a troop. You should not take them back from the girl. The baker doesn't take any cookies back from me. Once a cookie is given to somebody, you let them be responsible for selling it. So tell them you are going to add it to their system so that they owe for it. Once again, we see that girls sold at 400, 100, 300. Well, that's almost impossible to hit those exact numbers. What you have the ability to do is maximize rewards. So this girl might have sold 415 boxes, but she would have to sell another 35 in some other way to be able to get her up to the next reward, or maybe another 90, 85 boxes to get up to 500. Well, that extra 15 boxes might be able to help bump somebody else up. That happens in the booth sales. Booth sales are a troop activity that you can divide those out based on exactly what a girl sold and which booth sale they were at. It can be done by total boxes divided by total girls that participated. It can be total boxes divided by total participation. So if I went to 5 booths, I get credited for 5 booths out of the total allotment, however you want to do it. And then you can even say with the last 100 boxes, we're going to just try and bump people up. And that's okay. All that matters is at the end, your total number of boxes that you took on into your troop. So that's the initial order plus any extras and however many times you've come to the cupboard or traded with other troops. That's this number. Then you need to make sure all of those boxes get distributed. So these, 1,000 of them got distributed in the initial order, 785 were sold during booths, 121 of them were either checked out or through the digital cookie program, a couple of Toffee-tastic, a couple of donation boxes, and then the Goal Getter program had another 271. Goal Getter has a time that it stops, meaning February 21st, but you can add the numbers to the Goal Getter column at any point. So you can add 30 boxes. If you believe a girl earned her Goal Getter Diva, you just would add 30 boxes or 200 boxes or whatever they sold during that time period so that it triggers the reward. This entire thing is just phony baloney numbers. Nothing is real. I don't know if this girl actually sold 400. She may have sold more. She may have sold less. It is up to the troop to distribute these as fairly and equitably as possible, but I can't prove what actually happened in this. So you have to make sure that everything is done the way you said you were going to do it for your troop. But these numbers don't mean anything. If you left all this blank, technically all it would mean is that girls just don't get rewards and you have a bunch of cookies that you didn't distribute. It doesn't mean that they did or didn't sell them. It doesn't mean anything to me. It just means you didn't distribute them out. That's all it means. Same with the money side. I like when troops use the money side and keep it all clean and come up with a balance of 0. You shouldn't ever have any mistakes anymore because all of our cookie boxes are the same price. What used to happen is people would have some money and some things were collected, but the issue was that they forgot to record their Toffee-tastic or their specialty cookies, and so you'd get a weird number. Now all of them are the same price, so you shouldn't have any weird numbers or any weird issues. But the money side of this, again, is phony baloney. I do not know whether or not these girls actually turned any money into you and you got it credited to them correctly. You are doing this because this is a good way to track it. Once again, you click on a girl and it would open up every time she's made a payment, either through the digital cookie program, turned in money to you for the initial order, or however you want to put it. If it's a different line for every time they submitted money, that's great. And I would then write like, this is the date that they did that. There's a little notes section when you do that. The next page over, though, is the transactions page or tab. That is real numbers because this is by variety what you've either picked up from another troop, from the initial order, from the digital cookie program that ships cookies or donates cookies, or I won't have donated cookies from that program, but anything that gets shipped will be put on here, and anytime you pick up from the cupboard. And it adds up all those different times that you picked up cookies or got them added through the DOC, the digital order card, or the digital cookie program. And it has a total number of the varieties that you picked up. And I know that you had 2,290 boxes or 2,000 or 5,000 or whatever boxes you had. I will see that number in the system, and that is where all of your money due comes from. So these are real numbers. These are locked. All these different times are when you actually said, yes, I signed for these cookies, so I know you picked them up. Those are real numbers. To add more is up in this corner, in case you didn't see it, is add a transaction. You add a transaction to any of these spots to be able to add more cookies by case or by package. Most of the time we ask for cupboard pickups to be by case. If you really do need it by packages, you can submit it that way from the cupboard, but it is sometimes a little bit annoying. This is also where you would trade with a troop. So if you have a troop that has extra cookies, you would just type in their troop, you would put in their troop number, and then either by packages or cases, you would say, I am adding product to my troop by submitting this order. Do this at the same time that you're actually picking those up. If it's a cupboard order, you can submit this early, hit the save and print once you know what you're ordering, and then go and pick it up. Save and print always saves, and it opens up a print option. You don't have to print, but it does automatically save it. If you click the OK button, a lot of people stand up and they get in their car to come pick up the cookies, or they were at a booth and they thought that it should be there, but what they forgot to do is they hit OK and forgot to hit the save button. If you're using the app, this will be a little bit easier, but just know that's what happens. Always hit the save and print button because it automatically saves. The initial reward will automatically just add up for you and submit. So if somebody actually earns it, it's just automatically going to happen. But it does give you the ability to view and submit your initial order. Just know that it's going to happen automatically for the initial reward because there's only one of them. For the final rewards, though, there are lots and lots of different options. So you do need to make sure that at each level that has an option, the girls it'll notify you. It'll say, hey, this girl still has options that need to be made. You need to pick what they actually sold and what they earned so that they get what they actually want. Booth sales scheduling. This can happen during those 3 rounds, but it can also happen at any other point. What we see here is you would see your town, then you'd see the Walmarts or whatever is available in your town. You'd click that town, you'd see the days that it's available. You'd click the day that you want and then the time slots and submit. This happens very, very quickly in those rounds, so make sure you're on the spot that you want and just keep hitting F5 until you see everything turn green. Click your spot, hit submit. If you ever see that it doesn't work, it is not because it is broken. It means somebody got there first, and you just haven't refreshed in the millisecond that they beat you. Know that that's what's going to happen. Have a second, third, fourth choice ready. And on that final round, know how many you want and try and find all the best spots that you can find. Start with maybe your third and fourth choice of those on the third round because you're more likely to actually get them. Everybody that's been doing this a while knows the great spots and the great time slots. So just know you might not always get your first choice, but have a second, third, fourth plan to back it up. Sales report just adds everything up so that you can see your per girl average selling. So once again, sometimes it's exactly to the per girl averaged or even just the girls in the system. But sometimes it's very different because you only have 5 girls selling, but you had 8 girls in your troop. But several of them didn't participate because either they just haven't been available or whatever reason. This also shows you what your base rate of troop proceeds were and what extra tiered proceeds you earned. If you do hit those extra proceeds, it'll have the total sale minus your troop proceeds proceeds, and then whatever that is what you owe to council. You'll see all of your DOC deposits made into the system, but then you'll see 3 ACHs. Usually those are labeled ACH1, ACH2, ACH3, which is the final one, and usually the biggest, and that's how you know you've paid off council and you are eligible to get all your rewards. If there's any questions, please do email those to customer care, and they will help answer anything that you have. Or if you need a little bit of extra assistance, go ahead and either call us, and they'll see if they can have me maybe walk you through a couple of extra steps. But thanks for joining.